Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ahlan wa sahlan, guys. Welcome. Welcome to this live stream. My name is Yaqut Zaman. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day, enjoying yourselves, having a zabardast time. Right, let me go on to Instagram. Okay, let's see if I can go live. Okay, so give me a second, guys. Okay, here you go. Let's go live with this. Right. So again, welcome, guys. Ahlan wa sahlan. It's been a whole week since I've seen you guys, and it's been very hot in the UK, guys. Weather has become excellent, very nice, beautiful weather. Enjoying it a lot. All right. So, Abdul Qadir, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Irfan, wa alaikum assalam. Ahlan wa sahlan, my brother Irfan. Ahlan wa sahlan. Welcome, welcome, guys. Ibn Adam, wa alaikum assalam to you as well. Welcome. So the reason I am late, guys, is because I had to go to a barbecue. There was a students' barbecue and teachers, so I had to attend that. So that's why I do apologize for me being late. I've eaten loads, so I've eaten lots of meat and a hot day as well. So my palms are very hot. You know, when you eat so much and your palms get very hot. So, right, let's get on with some of the questions. Now let's check out Curious Cat. Let's see what kind of questions you guys have. Remember, guys, you can ask questions here in the comments box, or you can ask questions on Curious Cat if you don't want your name to come up. Maybe some people, they don't want their names to come. So, ahlan wa sahlan, ahlan wa sahlan. All right, Curious Cat. Okay, let's check out some questions over here then. Right, so, Assalamu alaikum. Could you explain Hadith 3111 in Sahih Bukhari? So, salam. Can you provide the wording of the Hadith? Jazakallah khair. So, sometimes when you guys say Hadith number so and so, not all the Hadith books order the numbers of the Hadith in that particular order. Yeah, they don't all order them. Is contraceptive copper coil permissible? Salam. Possibly, depending on the lady's situation. She would need to explain her issue to a scholar or a doctor, etc. So normally the issue with the copper coil is that it has to be inserted inside of the woman's private parts. So that's why there's a bit of an issue of exposure. Is it haram to learn to play musical instruments, specifically violin? Salam, according to the majority position, it would not be allowed. Okay. Does cleaning ears with a cotton bud nullify wudu? No. Salam. No, doesn't. Okay. Ahlan wa sahlan kanda wa alaikum salam. Is there a difference between an alim and a mufti? So alim generally means someone who has knowledge, who has studied a particular syllabus or curriculum in which he understands the Quran and Hadith, etc. Mufti is someone who has done like an extra specification in fiqh. Yeah, so Mufti is someone who, after becoming an alim, specializes in fiqh. John Wick, alaikum assalam. I got to know about this through my cousin. I'm 19 years old and I have some questions if you don't mind. Yes, ahlan wa sahlan, welcome. Masir Ali, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My brother from America. كيف الحال? كيف الحال? Ahlan wa sahlan. Got this tea today, guys. Guess what this tea is called? The guy said it's called love tea. I'm gonna find out if it's called love tea. Let's see if it tastes like love. All right, so Rizwan, ahlan wa sahlan. You always suggesting reading kids' books. The problem with them is their content is not appealing to adults. Yeah, unfortunately. The point of reading the kids' books is they are designed in a very good way to progressively help people to be able to learn Arabic. That's the good thing about it. Someone could write a similar one, but with good content. That would be good. Do you offer a one-on-one Q&A session for private matters, such as for Patreon members, etc.? Possibly. I mean, depending on the situation, possibly. Yeah. Slave of Allah, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Would you what do you think of Mufti Abdul Mangira Iftar course? I have not done it, but I know people who have done it and they've praised it a lot. Yeah, I've spoken to Mufti Abdul Mangira about it, and I would definitely encourage anyone who wants to do Iftar in the UK, definitely would refer them to it. Yeah, it's very intense. Like, it's not something for an average person. You would have to be very good in your Arabic, and you'd have to be able to dedicate a good amount of time to research. Ibn Adam, assalamu alaikum. What's the best way for a person who has completed their alim course to revisit and go through it properly? So, two ways, I think, for people who qualify. The first way would be for a person to, on their own, if they want, to go through the books and just reread them again and try to understand them this time. Right. So that's the first option. Right? And this way usually does the job, because unfortunately, one of the drawbacks in the alim course is you're learning the Arabic as you're reading books, which is not a good thing, because if you're learning Arabic as you're going through the books, you don't fully grasp everything in the book through the Arabic language. Once you reread the books again, then you kind of fill in gaps. Second option is to study the core text or the early text, the Arabic, at least from a teacher again. Safwan, will you be making a new video on YouTube, Kitab al-Rahan Quduri? Inshallah, when the chapter comes, inshallah. When the Kitab of Rahan comes, inshallah. At the moment, we're on Kitab al-Sarf. Yeah, we're on Kitab al-Sarf at the moment, Brother Safwan. So, inshallah, I'm going through systematically through Quduri. So, yeah. Mullah, my brother. Mullah, what's happening, my man? What's happening? Your car mirrors, mashallah, look slick with that nice little shade over it. What's the best iftar course in UK? I haven't tested all the iftar courses to be able to tell you which one's the best, but I would definitely recommend two of them. I would recommend Mufti Abdul Rahman Manghera's and in Leicester, which is Mufti Faraz Adam. Yeah, they have one. I think it's called Jamia Mu'adh ibn Jabal. أنا بخير كيف أنت؟ أنا بخير أيضا. كيف الجو عندك؟ نحن عندنا الحرارة. Is it true that it is not permissible for men to wear rings on their forefinger or their middle finger? I haven't come across that, but generally in the Hanafi school, early Hanafi school, wearing rings is considered to be disliked for men to wear rings. Later Hanafis have allowed to wear a ring, and some of them differ on exactly which finger to put it on. Which children books should we read to learn Arabic? So what I would suggest is you can actually Tajura. There's a website called Tajura, and if you go through here, you find kids books by age 4 to 8 years. Where are the books? Arabic books, Arabic curriculums, Arabic stories for kids. Yeah, so here you have a website that has got a lot of resources. I haven't gone through all of them, but generally, I mean, Arabic kids books, stories, good. Boxing, MMA, mashallah, my brother. How are you Long time no see, my brother. Long time no see. Only met you once. So when I have exam in 2 weeks for Kuduri, we have the whole of Kitab al-Buyu. So your videos are helping me. Alhamdulillah. Also want to know if you do private lessons. Unfortunately, I do not do private lessons. I don't do private lessons. I only have private lessons for the higher tier of patrons. So which is like a once a month lesson they have. But I don't do because I don't really have time. I mean, it's not feasible for me to be able to dedicate. So unfortunately, I don't really. If you, I mean, there's might be able to find someone maybe if, who wants to teach, or who if you want to teach with a study by someone, find someone that you can pay and then you can study with them. But unfortunately, at the moment, it's difficult for me. Masir, what's special, unique about Mufti Mangera's course? It's very thorough. Yeah, their course is very thorough. They're very dedicated teachers. Yeah, so that's the thing. What you want in an iftar course is you want someone who knows their things very, very well, right? And you want someone who knows how to train a student in iftar. Yeah, that's the kind of sort of like thing that you want. Like what's common among the best iftar courses? Yeah, that's what you want in iftar, because iftar is basically navigating a student, training a student to navigate through the books. So you need someone who knows how to go through the books themselves, and then knows the best way, like the optimum way of getting them there. Can you bring more crash courses? That's a good point. That is, yes, I think I can. Inshallah, I will try to do some more crash courses. Inshallah. Was shaitan a jabariya due to فما هويت الأقدام? Allah knows. مسير علي نعم الجو في أمريكا الجو not جوف الجو في أمريكا حارة لكن يوجد نسيم الله. Boxing. So far, do they teach the Medina books to learn Arabic, or do they have their own syllabus? Yeah. HR, parents are dividing the inheritance fairly. Can I leave them till they fix it? I don't understand your question. If you can, HR, if you can elaborate more on your question. Rizwan, how hard, easy is the writing style of Surah min Hayat Sahaba, Abdurrahman Rifat Basha? So, I think those books, Surah min Hayat Sahaba, and anything which is on that particular style of writing is Arabic, which is not usually like written in today's times. So it's obviously not the style of writing that you're going to get from Manfluti or of Ali Tantawi or any of those. But it is, I would say, it kind of like fits into Arabic style that was quite common in the 200s and 300s, maybe 100s as well. So if you can read Surah min Hayat Sahaba very, very well, then your Arabic, I would say, classical understanding of Arabic would be very good. Yeah, because it has a lot of sort of what do you call it, like taswirat in there, taswir. So it creates a lot of imagery in there. So definitely, I would say it's a very high level. It's style of language you probably would find in hadith, but it's more towards that era, 200s, 300 era of writing. A brother broke countless fasts during Ramadan ever since he became baligh, or all whilst deceiving those around him into believing that he was fasting. So if he had no intention of fasting, then he only makes up, the single fasts. So if he missed out a month, he makes up the month. Missed out 2 months, he makes up 2 months. Yeah. Is there any reason why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells the same story in different words, like the story of Musa? Yeah, there's actually, in fact, this is considered to be a topic which is actually studied in a lot of detail. Yeah, so Qasas al-Quran. Yeah, so Asalib Qasas al-Quran. This is something which is there are numerous like different aspects to these stories. So for example, like I'll give you one example. For instance, when it comes to the story of Musa alayhi salam, when the angels come to him, so you have in Surah Hud, and you have in Surah Mursalat. So in Surah Hud, it mentions that he brings a jabi ijlin hanith, a roasted ijl calf for them to eat. But in Surah Mursalat, it's mentioned he brought a ijlin samin fat. So the two different stories, the wording is appropriate for each story. So the calf could have been fat and it also could have been roasted, but the mentioning of roasting fits in with Surah Hud because there's a lot of adhab in there. And Surah Mursalat is usually to do with, um, the rahmah of Allah, the mercy, the bounties of Allah. So vastness. This is just one example of the difference of the surahs, and there's many other stories, and there's many other aspects to these stories. The thing is, you know, um, culture plays a big role in how books are understood. So the Quran was revealed for the people at the time of the Sahaba and their style of Arabic. Whereas, for example, nowadays, because most of us are brought up in like a modern Western understanding of how books are written, that's why we find it difficult to be able to read the Quran and be able to appreciate these subtleties in the Quran. But it takes time. If you want to be able to learn that, you can. But you just have to get yourself used to the style in Arabic in the Quran. One of the most exciting things in learning to read Arabic is going from Bali. Let me say Bali there. Barely being able to do a paragraph or two to being able to do 3 or 4 pages, no problem. Alhamdulillah, definitely. That's the beautiful thing about learning a language. The more effort you put into it, the more you're going to learn. HR Sheikh says, if parents aren't dividing inheritance according to the Quran, then walk away and tell them you will break ties of kinship until they fix it to bring them back on track. Okay, I mean, I wouldn't agree with that. I wouldn't agree with that. Is suicide haram because it demonstrates a lack of faith? The Quran, Allah does not. After everything comes to you. No, suicide is haram because it's you are taking the life of something that doesn't belong to you. So killing anything that does not belong to you, you don't have a right to take. It's simple as that. Our lives belong to Allah. We have no right to take our lives. Simple as that. Just like we have no right to take the life of our neighbors. Can a person improve Arabic outside the Nizam books? Of course, 100%. You probably would be able to improve your Arabic outside of Dars Nizami more than you can in Dars Nizami. Dars Nizami doesn't mean it's the optimum route to be able to understand Arabic. It is probably one of the best routes to be able to get access to the advanced sciences, of course. But to learn Arabic, I know people who have not done Dars Nizami, but the Arabic is better than many people who have done Dars Nizami. Do you teach mentor people in iftar? I'm thinking about that. If I study iftar in UK, I can become a mufti and roadman at the same. Wah wah, kya baat hai bhai. Two birds with one stone. So I think Mufti Abdurrahman ibn Mangera, his iftar course is something which he doesn't give you the certificate of iftar until after you have to study with him for about 3 or 4 years. Then I think about 5 or so years you have to train and you have to do khidmah of the deen. And then after that, he assesses you and then he'll decide whether you get a certificate. So it's like tough. What are your thoughts on studying Kafia? Very good. I've studied Kafia. It's very good. But again, it depends. You need a good teacher. A good teacher to study, and you have to have studied a good level of Arabic from before and know how to read Arabic from before. Alhamdulillah, with all my car problems, the only thing I can do at this point is make the car look. Welcome to our world, my bro. Welcome to our world, Emullah. The world of people who have car problems. This is our dunya. Mu'min alaykum assalam. When doing ghusl, if you aim the shower head on every part of the body, is the whole body considered washed? Yes, it's all washed. Sorry, the question was, how can a person improve Arabic outside the Nizami books? So how can you improve anything in life? The answer to that is practice. You have to practice and practice and practice again and again and again until you just perfect it. That's what it is. Honestly, even till today, I practice my Arabic. I read and I listen to books and I write. Yeah, there is no cure for incapability, like the hadith mentions. But to ask, you have to learn. You have to keep assuming to yourself, you know what, I need to improve. Once you have that mentality, then you can develop yourself. You have to read lots of books. Yeah, so it's so important for students to understand Dars Nizami is not the the all of Arabic. It's not you know the everything you need to know of Arabic. It's just like a crash course almost into getting yourself into Arabic. Why do so many people in Pakistan read Quran in Arabic but never in Urdu or language? I have no idea. Maybe good to ask them. It's a good question. What books should be studied after Kafia for Nahu, or is Kafia enough? So, what books should be studied after Kafia? I would say, look, it depends what you want. Do you want to become like a PhD expert in Nahu? Or do you want enough Nahu to be able to understand Quran, Hadith? Do you want that? So if you want the second one, then I would say if you study Kafir, that is enough. If you study Hidayat and Nahu at a good level, I would even say that would be enough in many cases. If you study at a good level. You know what? Let me tell you something. I have seen people who have studied Arabic grammar for 5, 6, 7 years. They're studying Arabic grammar, and they're still studying basic books, basic intermediate books. Right? I think they are wasting their time. Most people, they want to be able to access Arabic books and just read Arabic books. They want to be able to read Fathul Bari, or they want to be able to read Ibn Kathir. Why are you studying so much grammar? You don't need all that grammar for reading these books. Yeah, you don't need that. That's why I designed the Quranic Arabic 17 lessons course for that purpose, so people can just get into Arabic once and for all, and then they just learn little rules as they go along. I think getting a certificate should be tough. I personally think only high caliber people should attempt to be scholars. Good point. Good point. I think more people should attempt it, but qualifications should only be given to people who genuinely are up for it, like academically, and you know, you can almost say like what's the word for it? Not spiritually, uh, but competent people, good, wholesome people. That's what you want. Masir Ali, I'm about to be the type of mufti who can solve tough questions and societal issues, but also the type of person to fight the crazies in Birmingham. No, no, no. You can never fight the crazies in Birmingham, my brother. Yeah, this is muhal, like they say in Mantik. This is muhal. This is almost impossible. S Khan, ahlan wa sahlan, ahlan wa alaikum salam. I'm very well, thank you very much. As you can see, I am tanned to the max. Yeah, today I went for a hike, and my skin. If you look at my skin, it's all come out in these sort of spots. Yeah, so my skin is also all dried up because I didn't put sun cream on, and that's what happens to my skin. Is it permissible to get PRP, platelet-rich plasma injection for hair loss? I haven't researched this, so I wouldn't be able to answer it. I haven't researched exactly how it works, so I wouldn't exactly be able to say what if it would be permissible or not. That's fair. My angle was like, if not everyone can be medical doctors, the same level of standard should be used. But just a thought, yeah. And the other issue we have, Irfan, is at the moment we are in a super crisis of scholars. Like we literally have a massive deficit, like dangerous deficit of scholars in the UK. Most likely in America, definitely, but in the UK we have a big deficit, and that is now slowly having a knock-on effect. And the scary thing is, in 20-30 years, we're going to see the consequences of that. Yeah, I personally think they should be at least in every single community, every single mosque, they should be at least 20, 30 ulama, good ulama in every single community. 20, 30 very good ulama who have capability of being able to explain the whole of Deen to people from its sources. That's the kind of thing we need. And at the moment, we are in a big deficit. And when you don't have the access to scholars, people are naturally going to be looking at other places, and it gives rise to feminism and liberalism and people, coming out with all these strange types of understandings of Islam, sadly. So, I think at the moment we uh, we need scholars. We need people, to actually dedicate themselves to learning the Deen properly. But it's just sad that we don't really have that. Abid Hussein, alaikum assalam. I was wondering, how can I learn how to improve my understanding of Quran Tarjama? My Darul teaches in Urdu, so I don't understand much of it. I've heard it's really good to pick up Arab al-Quran. Arab al-Quran is good. What I would suggest is, look, um, what you basically need to do if you want to understand Quran, first of all, you need to be able to understand translation in Arabic. So you need to do like a basic Arabic course in learning how to translate in Arabic. That's what I don't know how you studied your first few years. Are you able to pick up a book, an Arabic book, and start reading and understanding it? That's the question. And unfortunately, I know there's lots of madaris out there which do not provide like a solid Arabic curriculum. Unfortunately, Irab al-Quran is good, but you want to be able to eventually understand Arabic yourself. What I would suggest, if your madrasa is not doing it, you need to get hold of a scholar on the side to help you to learn Arabic. What's your opinion? Husbands giving their wives half of their wealth property in the lifetime when they trust them completely. Reason is maybe after death they might be left with, possibly, yeah, might be a good thing. Yeah, why not? They can do it in their life as long as they're alive. Children will take a lot. Mirath question when not terminally illness. Yeah, possibly. So I mean, generally, I think families differ from place to place. Some families have a very good unit set up, a very good connection with each other. Financially, they're very supportive of each other. Some families, unfortunately, they argue, fight over wealth, fight over property inheritance. So yeah, I mean, I think these are good measures to take. I meant platelet rich. Yeah, unfortunately, I haven't researched into platelet rich. I wouldn't be able to give you an answer. It'll find a very, yeah. So that's my take on this at the moment. The way I see it is there is a big deficit at the moment in scholars, like a very dangerous deficit, and because of this deficit, that's why we're seeing a lot of people now resorting to this like crazy online dawah scene where anyone's becoming a dawah individual, and they're talking about the deen, and they're very emotional about it. They know some Arabic words, and it just sounds like they are legitimate. That's what we're going to have more of now. So watching the next 10, 20 years, there's going to have this new uprising. Is epilepsy a ticket to Jannah? I don't know. Is it true as a punishment for committing zina, a person's life in this dunya is shortened? I don't know. I haven't come across any authentic narration about this. So we have learned Qasas 1 to 5 and Qarat Rashida 1 to, and Arabika Mu'allim 1 and 2, Mu'allim Insha. MashaAllah, that should be good then. So can you read? Like let me just show you a I mean, if my student had studied this, if my students had studied what you've studied, they should be able to read a book like, let me just bring up a book and I'll show you what I mean by this. They should be able to read. Yeah, so this is what they should be able to read. Yeah, that's what they should be able to read, basically. Well, I've just put on the screen. Mizan, assalamu alaikum. Any advice on how to keep lughat in your head? It's the only thing making me slow in reading Arabic. So what you need to do, Mizan, is you need to do lots of extra reading of Arabic. So read Arabic storybooks as much as you can. Read Arabic magazines, Arabic newspapers, as much as you can, because the words will repeat themselves. Yeah, that is something which, unfortunately, lots of madrasa students, like I would say, 80 to 90% of madrasa students, they don't do external reading of their own. They just stick to whatever is in the dars, what they're trained in. That's it. They don't read extra Arabic books. Is it makruh for men to expose their elbows during salah? No, it's not. This is on Curious Cat. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Okay, I'm gonna go off. Instagram. Okay, so Instagram. Okay. I started my external reading in Mishkat. I wish I started before. Yeah, definitely. That's something which, don't worry, inshallah, you'll be able to make it up, inshallah. But just do as much external reading. The more difficult reading you do, the better it is, basically. Yeah, because you force yourself. But don't make it too difficult. I would say, as long as you can understand about 40 to 50% of the words, carry on reading the book. It's going to take you time to be able to grasp some of the new words, but don't worry about it. What's the best way to remember Masail? More reading. Yeah, more reading. So there's very options you can have. One is, for example, the Masail that you learn. Try to read that same Masala in different books. Yeah. So once you read it in several books, it kind of sticks in your head. You can also make these small little flashcards with the Masail and then test yourself regularly. You can make charts and maps and put it on the wall and then keep going through them. There's various ways, but I generally find by teaching, you retain more. I have classmates who started at second year and now they, mashallah, can read Arabic like English. Alhamdulillah. Currently going through Al Arabiya Bayna Yadayk. What are your thoughts on it? Very good. I've taught it before. If you do the whole thing, inshallah, you'll be able to speak Arabic very well. Is it permissible for men to have a hair transplant? Possibly, yeah. Depends how it's done, but possibly, yeah. Okay, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. This is on Curious Cat. I prayed Fajr Jamaat with my kids at home. We started prayer before sunrise, but when I finished prayer, I realized 30 seconds into sunrise, 5:59 sunrise finished. 5:50 sunrise finished, 30 seconds with salat. Salam. Yes, repeat the salat. Okay. Wa alaikum salam. Would it be impermissible to pay car insurance monthly as they usually charge an overall higher amount? Salam. Yes, you can. Wa alaikum assalam. I was okay. Is it permissible to watch videos, memes, which may have curse words in them, as long as possibly? Yes, but it all depends on the content. Sheikh, is it permissible to pray in any other language than Arabic while you are in Salat? So, Sheikh, that is fine. According to the majority, no, it must be in Arabic. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Who is Muhammad Wa'il Hanbali? Assalam. He is a Syrian scholar living in Turkey and one of the competent scholars today. I don't know too much about him. Is travel insurance permissible for holidays? It depends on a person's situation. Again, these kind of questions are very broad questions. You can't just give a straight yes or no answer. They're very broad. It's like someone goes to a doctor and says, if I have a stomach ache, can I take paracetamol? The doctor can't say yes or no. He's going to most likely say it's possible depending on what the circumstances situation is. Okay, in your honest opinion, how strong are the Asufa students in terms of reading Arabic books? The full-time ones, I mean, mashallah, are very good. Like literally our fifth-year students, I can give them any book to read and they can read it. Fathul Bari, Ibn Kathir, Qurtubi, things like Radd al-Muhtar, Badai Sanai. Alhamdulillah, that's our fifth years, and I would say our fourth years are probably no less than them. Yeah, so that is our honesty. We are very strict with our education, like with the development of students. We don't let this is the full time. We don't let students who are not capable to go forward. Right, that's how we like that. So we put a lot of effort in students being able to read external books. Is it true that it's haram to perform salah in a cemetery? Not exactly. So as long as you're away from the graves, it's allowed. Also, what external reading should a Hidayah student read? External reading for Hidayah, for my classes, for example, I would say Binaya. They should read Binaya. They should read books on Tarikh of Fiqh. Yeah, so books on Tarikh of Fiqh, they should read those. And then depending on what chapter they're reading as well, there could be various external readings that they could do. Generally, the thing that madrasa students are deficient in when it comes to like fiqh, for instance, they don't know the history of fiqh. History of fiqh, they generally don't know. They don't know the differences between the books of fiqh. Like, what are the differences between Badai Sanai and between Fatul Qadir and between that's another thing they don't know. And they don't know about fuqaha. Like if you ask them what's the difference between Imam Qasim bin Qatlubugha and between Imam Jassas, they probably won't be able to tell you. So I think these are probably some of the basic things that students need to know when they are studying fiqh, because the teacher probably won't get a chance to tell them all this information. Right? Those are things that student must. So if you want a book on Tarikh of Fiqh, I would definitely encourage. If you can read Urdu, then Tadween Fiqh by Maulana Manazir Ahsan Galani. Very good if you can read Urdu. And otherwise, in Arabic, there's Al-Madkhal Al-Fiqhi Al-Am by Mustafa Ahmad Zarqa. There's sections in there, especially the second volume. Very good. Yeah. And also a book called Al-Madkhal, what's it called? Al-Madhhab Al-Hanafi by Naqib. It's called the same as Naqib something. Keep forgetting. Check that out. That's a very good. That's 2-volume book. I always get students like to read from sections from there. In your opinion, how honest is your opinion? Only it's honest as you can get. It's honest as yours. Like, what's the best according to a Hidayah student's level? Yeah, those. I mean, why do you think there are fewer young people opting to become ulama? It was never a lucrative career, at least not in the last 100 years. I think there's several reasons for it. Pakistan, alhamdulillah, there are lots of people graduating as ulama, but the problem in Pakistan is curriculum needs to be revamped. Alhamdulillah, there are some madaris that are developing the curriculum a lot, so that's a very, very good thing that's happening over there. In the West, we have the problem. And the reason is because in the West, there is just too much in the West when it comes to commercialism, consumerism, capitalism. There's just too much like on stake. So it's difficult for a person to be able to survive if they, or so what they assume, if they graduate from madrasa, how are they going to support their family? And then there are so many other options. Like, you know, if you graduate from madrasa, you're probably not going to be making a £30,000 a year, £35,000 a year job. That's probably not what you're going to get, unless you got like a side job going on. I think the main thing is that it's not lucrative enough. And people living in the West, that's what they do. They're workaholics. They earn and they work and work and work until they're 60, and that's it. Yeah, and so I think that is the main thing. Incentive. There's not much of an incentive for that. And then all the parents are the good kids, the clever kids. They're putting them becoming doctors, become professionals in those kind of areas. That's what they want. And obviously, which parent doesn't want their child to do well financially? Every parent wants them. And people generally have a very backward mentality about ulama. I think they kind of just see them as people that provide nikah services, janaza services, and the Friday talks and tarawih. That's all they see them as. They don't see anything else. So that's isn't it because there are more opportunities available now, and from social media, it seems like people are taking more interest in Islamic studies. You're surprised they're not. They're not studying it. They're not studying it in depth. Yeah, they're not basically dedicating a large portion of their life to it. They're just learning it bit by bit, little bits here. Do small little crash courses here, there, and then getting through it. Just like people studying medicine, there's probably lots of people online on social media who kind of believe they know how to treat many illnesses, but it doesn't mean that they qualify for it. He's Wild Hanbali Hanafi. I think he's Hanafi. I think he is. I'm not 100% sure. I think he is a Hanafi. Does a Sufa have online alim class? They actually started one this year. Yeah, and actually today I was with the online alim students. They came down, the ones that are in the UK. They came down and they had a barbecue and got to meet them all. Does you ever read the Madkhal al-Mufassal? I think it's a very good book. Dr. Salah al-Hajiz. It's a very easy to read book, I would think. Very easy to read. Yeah. So Dr. Salah al-Hajiz is a very capable scholar, and he's got lots of experience in Hanafi fiqh. So that's why I would definitely recommend his book. It's very, very useful. Should my female revert friend who is English use Maryam alayhi salam as a role model, or is another female Muslim? I don't know, brother. I mean, there's lots of. She doesn't have to just use Maryam. She can use many of the Sahabiyat and many pious women of the past and many pious women of today as well. Atiqur Rahman, alaykum assalam, ahlan wa sahlan. There are some masajids that have plenty of young ulama, but they are not utilized enough because masajid committees are not active. Not allow youth club. Has there any advice for those masajids? Yeah, I see. This is a very, very pertinent thing that you said there. That's bang on. That is one of the biggest problems we have. There's no utilization of our scholars as well. So the ones that do graduate and want to do something, it's like, where do you go? Do you start your own online thing, and then how successful is that? Onlines will never be as successful as on-site efforts. Yeah, that's all at the moment for now anyway. You're not going to have a big shift from on-site to online dedication. So what I think is, what needs to happen is several things needs to happen in the masajid. The structure of the masjid needs to change, of how it's run. Yeah, and a lot of the committee members, you need to get rid of them and get really fresh people in there, people who have knowledge background, who also understand the vision of the community as well. That's the first thing. Second thing, I think in every single community, if you cannot have a masjid set up where you have free education for the public, where they can learn all the best sciences, nahu and sarf. You can have one day teaching nahu and one day free of charge. People can come, men and women come. And this is how it is in a lot of Arab countries, Turkey and a lot of these places. You have masajids and they have free durus taking place. If you can't have that set up, then you need to have a separate building or a separate place where um, where this is, um, you know, so where this takes place. It's up to you guys. So you have an institute, you start a system there. You have, you know, those young ulama that will run it. That's what you need. Yeah. How can you check if you properly understood the core masail when studying fiqh or Quduri? I mean, the obvious way to check is when you check it out with a scholar, an expert scholar. So you go over the things with them, and then he tests you. That would be the ideal way. Otherwise, the other ideal way would be you ask a scholar to give you questions, and then you research those questions yourself. Irfan, when it comes to unlabeled perfumes such as the oils you get from Islamic shops, we just assume that they are pure. Yes, just assume they're pure. Gotta read the Bahar. Yeah, Bahar Raik's good. Curriculums in the West is weak, and the middle parts of Alim course is gutted weak. Is desiring to be great or to do big things haram or sign of incentive? No, it's good. If it's obviously a good project, good, it's a good endeavor, then it's alhamdulillah, excellent. Tanweer wa alaikum assalam. When making wudu from a bucket of water, can I submerge my feet in the water? Yes, you can do that. You can do that, yeah. Wa alaikum assalam, Farid, ahlan wa sahlan. It's a long time since we communicated. Alhamdulillah, my brother. I hope you're well. Any tips on giving the Islamic perspective on respect and tolerance to a group of student teachers? Will be part of a multi-faith panel for RE teacher. Any tips on giving the Islam perspective on respect and tolerance to a group of student teachers? Will be part of a multi-faith panel. Okay, so it's a good question. This is respect and tolerance. I think respect and tolerance are two big topics. These are very heavy topics. These are. Especially when we're living in a world which is against this. So, what I would suggest is, if you're going to talk about these subjects, you have to talk about the backdrop of respect and tolerance in our society today. Yeah. So, if you look at every level, for example, you look at the youth of today, look at the type of respect that they show to the authority, respect that they show to their own families, respect they show to their own on the streets, how they park their cars, how they run their businesses, and how they speak to each other. Tolerance as well. The issue of lack of sabr. That's just from starting from the youth. Look at prisons as well. How many people we have in prison? Prison population in Birmingham anyway is vast majority of them is disproportionately Muslim. Yeah, disproportionately Muslim. And then why were they in there for? It's clear it has a direct connection with committing crimes, doing things that are a lack of respect, lack of tolerance. So first of all, I think what I will talk about is I will talk about the situation that we're in and why it's so important for the society at every level to have these two things. And the second thing I'll talk about is how respect and tolerance can only come about when there is a firm, loyal belief in teachings that come from God. If you don't believe in teaching that come from God, then you have nothing to anchor the society in. Like, why would a person who is living in this world, who's earning, let's say, I don't know, really good wage, and has got a family, has got a car, why would they want to be respect anyone for? For what reason should they respect anyone? Yeah. And you see, the richer people get in this society today, the more generally, the more they kind of become selfish people. Yeah, it's very become self-centered people. They care about their own self. They care about their own, like the clothing that they wear or the property that they earn or all that kind of thing. Not all rich people, but generally this is unfortunately that what we see. So again, it's that kind of. So this is I think that's how I would tackle it. I don't know. What do you think? I'm currently reading random parts and finding it mad beneficial. I think they should call the book what every Hanafi is. Definitely Bahraik. Bahraik is Ibn Najim. This is according to Mullah Anwar Shah Kashmiri. He considers Ibn Nujaym to be a great faqih. Like he considers him to be one of the last proper mujtahideen, greater than Ibn Abidin. I'm currently reading random Rashid Khan. Is it impermissible to go to the cinema? It depends what you're watching. If it's something which is impermissible to watch, then of course. Is online sofa class for girls and boys? Yes. How can I record my voice in order to reach you in your channels? I've been trying to figure that out, Farid. If anyone knows any website or anything, ideally free of charge one, where people can make a little voice message, and because I want to use it for those people who are learning Quran, so that they can recite some verses. Is it haram to make a display? Is it haram to make a display a Bitmoji on Snapchat? I would say no, depending on, I mean, what kind of image it is. Generally, I would say no. In theory, it's no, but it depends. It could be an image which is wrong Islamically, like for example, someone mocking an angel or mocking Jesus, something like that. In the question of submerging feet in a bucket of water, won't the water become used and not usable for? So according to Imam Hanifa, no. This is one of the three opinions that he has, because first of all, ma musta'mal according to the Rajih qawl is that it's not najis, and then the washing would take place, but because it's taken place inside of the water, therefore the action has been done. And then there's like this whole discussion that Ibn Abidin has about the mulaqi and the mulqama. Yeah, so if a person was to submerge their hand or their foot inside of there out of darura, we would say that the water would not all become musta'mal. Yeah, because the only musta'mal part is the one that touches the surface of the skin, which is insignificant compared to the rest. What if you're going to a Western university and you want to learn politics and it's not Islamic? I don't have any other choice. Yes, you can do it, inshallah. Can you please advise how I can make recorded videos online teaching Quran? What's a good way to start and which application? So it depends how you want to make those videos. If you want to make those videos like this, you get yourself a good camera, you record it on your camera, you edit the video, and then you upload it onto YouTube. Right. So that would be the easiest way for any person to do so. The other way would be where you don't have a dedicated camera. What you have is a webcam, and then you simply just record it through the webcam onto the device, and then upload it onto YouTube. That would probably be one of the easiest ways to do it. So I don't know. I mean, it depends. What kind of video? What's the sort of like format you thought about? Purple Plants, Walaikum Assalam. Is it allowed for a sister to help another sister with weekly Quran reading, correcting their mistakes, but they follow opinion that they can read Quran during menses? Yes. Ruling on looking at women without lust. So technically, it's not sinful, but if a person feels inside that they might start feeling lust for them, then they should avoid it. Is it okay to continue to help them correct their errors? Yeah. I was talking about the Madkhal Mufassal, but now I gotta read the Bahr. Oh, so what another book that you might like, I would say, is probably Madkhal al-Fiqh al-Am by Mustafa Zarqa. Very good. And also Asbab Udul Hanafiya and Zahir Riwaya by Dr. Lu'ay Abu Khalil. Atiq Rahman Barakallahu Fiqh. Madaris, in my humble opinion, could do more to guide the graduates after Faragh, because some masjids are ruthless. Yeah. And unfortunately, I've seen it. A lot of the masjids, I mean, they're run by people who seem to be dedicated to the cause of the masjid, but sometimes they don't have the right vision, and sometimes they are very impartial or heavy-handed towards the imam, yeah, or things like that. If I'm somewhere, okay, what should elders in my family do if they know inheritance was not properly distributed between siblings, but they have not made amendments? They should tell them. I mean, that's all they can do, isn't it? They should tell them that what they've done is wrong. Yeah. If I'm somewhere and it's Salat time and I don't know the Qibla, can I just pray anyway? Yes. Could it lead to harm to the deceased person? No, because no one living can harm a person in their grave. basically. So that's the general rule, unless that person who passed away left behind a particular practice, deliberately left behind a practice that was wrong and people are acting upon it. If you're honest, most people who just have a Muslim name deep down believe they are guaranteed Jannah, even if they don't do the basics. They say Allah is the most forgiving. Do you need wudu to touch the Quran on your phone? So I would say do not touch the Arabic writing. You can't touch the Arabic writing. And I feel like I have to read everything just to become decent and fig. Don't worry, with time, inshallah. Time is your dost. I think I was thinking of reading Quran and slowly so others can join and correct their mistakes. How can I display the text on the screen? Which application? So what you can do for that is, again, you got several options here. So I would say two main options you've got. You can either have so you do your recording like this. You have a camera, you record, and then you can post edit. So you get the ayats and then you have to edit it later on, and you got to put the ayats in. So for that, you need to use editing software. So you need to get yourself used to using editing software. You can get free editing software, you can get paid editing software, right? So that's one option. Second option is you have a screen recorder. That's what I do, a screen recorder. So you have the ayat on the screen, and then you get yourself a screen recorder software, and then it records whatever's on the screen. So in this case, the ayat of the Quran, and then you can have your own camera on the side, and then you read, and then obviously people will be able to follow. What application can you use? Again, if you're going to use the second option, then you'd use there's two things that I use at the moment. One is something called Screencast-O-Matic, and the other one is called Camtasia. So Screencast-O-Matic or Camtasia, these are two. You could use a free option. I pay for these, but you can use a free option, which is I've got an Apple Mac, so on there you can record the screen or whatever size you want. That's another option. Okay. What if the deceased person did not include certain due to family? So that sin will still be upon them. Yeah. So if a person has made it a sinful decision before they died, that they're going to be held responsible for that, irrespective of what happens afterwards. So what if the deceased person did not include certain due to members in their will? Yeah. So that's the issue. Those people who have received the inheritance should make an effort to distribute it fairly. So if someone has received more than what they're supposed to get, and they know they've been given this, then they should distribute it correctly. Can a female mu'allima create videos for online learning on YouTube, specifically showing their voice and hands? Their voice and hands. I don't understand you. Why would they want to show their hands for? Yeah, so theoretically, a woman can make a video, but again, she'd have to observe the rules. No makeup on. It's gonna have to be hijab, and things like that. Yeah. So, and it's gonna have to be something which is targeted generally for women and kids. Is doing boxing MMA permissible or even watching? So if I used to do boxing MMA, if it's done just for sparring and not for a professional level, I won't see a problem in that. But at the professional level, I would see a problem with it. Okay, that's it. Questions have all been answered, my friends. All been answered. Anyway, guys, I think I will finish it there, guys. Jazakumullah khair to all of you guys for tuning in as usual. I noticed some women write Jazakillah or Barakallah Feek. Is there any difference? Yes, yeah. So it's basically to do with Arabic pronouns. So when you study Arabic pronouns for men and for women are different. So in English, for example, you is the same for a man and for a woman, you, Y-O-U. But in Arabic, it's different. So the pronouns for a man are different from a woman. So when you're speaking to a man, you're going to use a slightly different way. You're going to say something to a woman than to a man. What's the verdict on the love tea taste? You know what? It tastes excellent, It tastes very nice. It tastes romantic. So Basically, that's the contents of it. The contents of the tea, as you can see. You've got to leave it just for like 3 or 4 minutes. That's it, and then otherwise, taste gets too bitter. It's just these petals and strawberries in there, and I don't know. Yeah, it looks like a rose. I don't know if you can eat these roses. I don't know. Maybe you can. They don't taste too rosy. What's the Fast and Furious movie? I don't know. I haven't watched Fast and Furious movie. Again, look, I mean, generally as a Muslim, if there is any nudity in there, if there's any sort of like anything in that kind of thing, the Muslim should not be watching those parts of the movie. They shouldn't be watching these kind of things. A Muslim should act as a good role model for other people as well. So if you're of parents and you don't want your children to be imitating these kind of characters, then you shouldn't be watching these movies, I think. And so a person might be able to get a fatwa about watching a particular thing, but then they have to be careful about, is it spiritually affecting me? Is it having an effect on my salat? You don't realize by watching a particular movies, what can happen is it has an impact on your 5 times salat, meaning, your spirituality in your salat, it becomes extremely low simply because of things that you watched. Yeah, things that you listen to. And people don't realize that. They think, oh, it's okay. So these things definitely have an impact on your connection with Allah. Ustaz, do you garden? Yes. If so, what have you planted? So strawberries, cherry tree, just like these kind of. My mom's very good at planting, mashallah. So she gives me ideas, and then I check out a lot of things on YouTube as well. Some students actually gave me some last year, some gift, and it had teas in their teas, but in the seed form. You had to grow them yourself. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to grow them. They weren't growing. So I don't know if that's because the pH level of water in my area is different and I need a special type of water, or whether it's some type of supplements that I need. But you learn these kind of things as you go along. It's all experimental gardening we do. Yeah, so that's generally the plants. Besides that, some students gave me some rose plants, planted them. Alhamdulillah, they came out nicely. Things like my mom gives me mint, peppermint, and that's actually come out quite good. Peppermint's massive, loads of it's come out. And the lemon plant, I bought a lemon plant few weeks back. That's growing, lemon plant. And berries, you got like raspberries and all the different blueberries. من حيز حصلت على شاي بالحب حصلت عليها من تركيا. Are children allowed to play with water pistols, water bombs? Yes. Would you not? No, it wouldn't be considered israf. Not in our sort of like convention. Wa alaikum assalam, ahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, my brother Sharif. كيف الحال يا أخي? Can you suggest some books that will help improve Arabic and handwriting? So Arabic, I would suggest reading storybooks. Arabic storybooks are the best thing that you can read. And I know I keep saying this to you guys, but this is something which you guys gotta get yourselves into. And writing, I would say, handwriting, I would personally say just look at some Arabic writing and every day write 2 or 3 lines, trying to copy it as accurate as possible. Ideally, you should have a teacher. Yeah, so you have a teacher and that teacher shows you how to write. I used to learn Arabic handwriting in school, in madrasa, from this teacher, Maulana Rumi. His name was Maulana Rumi. Sultan Rumi. Maulana Rumi. Maulana Rumi was teachers. And I'd go to him and give me some writing and then I'd copy it. Any plans for podcasts from you? At the moment, I'm so busy. Very, very difficult to be able to do it at the moment. See, the problem with podcasts is podcast requires a team. Yeah, because when you do podcasts continuously or regularly, you need to first of all have a dedicated time slot that you're going to be there all the time, every when it's once a week. Secondly, is you need to source content or guests. That itself requires a lot of energy. You got to contact them. You got to see what's out there, what kind of discussions to have. So I think those are the two main things. If you want content, you need to have those two things: dedication, and you need to have. So if there was like a team and they could do all the thing, and then maybe I just attended now and again podcasts, that would be something more appealing to me. Which book is it good to start teaching fiqh to students? I would say Fiqh al-Muyassar. Yeah, Fiqh al-Muyassar is easier to understand. Yeah, easier. I mean, if it's not in Arabic, then you know any Hanafi book that's been translated into English would be all right. Felicity to Ascension to Felicity is good. If I go on Umrah, do I have to shave my head every time you go, or if you have shaved once, you don't need to? Yeah. So basically, when you go, I don't know if you watched my video on Crash Course on Hajj and Umrah. So once you do the tawaf of the Kaaba, you either shave your head or you cut your hair. So if you've shaven your head, then you obviously can't cut it because the hair's been. So you just pass a blade over your head just to imitate the action. Any advice when teaching fiqh books? I mean, I don't really kind of know exactly the audience that's there, what level it is. It all depends. What I generally say is that if you're going to teach beginners, absolute beginners, Arabic, yeah, no, sorry, fiqh, what you have to do is you have to teach them the very basics. Yeah, now, number one. And number two is you have to start to make them think about the fiqh and allow them to ask you questions. That is a very important point. I would say half of the lesson, maybe maybe a third of the lesson or half the lesson should be dedicated to letting the students discuss things. What about this and what about that? And so you kind of teach them. Let's say you teach them wudu, the basics of wudu, and then you say, okay, well, what about this would happen? How do we look at this masala? How do we look at this masala? And that's why you need to have a very good teacher to teach that way. The teacher has to know how to control the class, and the teacher must be very good at his own fiqh. He must know it very well. Yeah, ideal. That's how I think fiqh should be taught in the beginning. Where to ask anonymous questions? You can ask it on Curious Cat, but I'm going to go now anyway, so it's going to have to be for next time. So Curious Cat, that's where you can ask anonymous questions. بارك الله فيك. أهلا وسهلا أخي وفيك. أريد أن أعلم لغة العربية إن شاء الله. علمك الله اللغة العربية. All right, guys, take care, and I will see you guys next time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.